Hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another edition of Print is Alive with me, your host, Warren Werbitt. Today we have a guest. Yes, you know that he's special because everyone on this show is special, but he's really, really special. Why? Because he is old school. This guy, Greg Horn. How you doing, Greg?
Hey Warren, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Great. Thank you.
Good
So
to
I just
hear.
want to say he's so old school that he still does all of his art drawing, and then you're either scanning or shooting it after, but he does not use a computer for this
Well,
podcast.
I do use a
Oh,
computer to do the color.
right. Okay. But he's old school. The podcast he's doing on his phone because he doesn't even want a webcam. So pretty cool. So, anyways, and I appreciate the fish tank behind you. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought you would. I thought you would.
Oh, I
You
do. I
are
do.
you are the whisperer.
They call me that, but I don't whisper. So, but tell everybody who's listening a little bit about what you do, who you are, because it's pretty cool.
Well, I first started working in comics 36 years ago, and most of the artwork that I did was in what you would call independent comics, so kind of I guess a level below mainstream. And then in 1999, um, I brought a new way of doing art into the arena, and Marvel saw it, and that's when I got my big break. And I've been working with Marvel and DC for the past 25 years. It's my 25th anniversary this year.
Cool. So I guess you go to a lot of Comic Cons and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've probably been to like 400 Comic Cons lifetime.
Whoa, really?
Oh yeah.
You get dressed up when you go too?
Do I get dressed up? No.
You
My
don't
my
get
wife
dressed up
likes
like a
to
comic book cover?
my wife likes to make a joke, and she says I should dress up as Gollum.
That's funny. That's fun. That's a lot of shows. You've been to more Comic Cons than I've been to print shows. So that's pretty cool. When you started, how were you doing the covers, or how were you printing them? And or tell me a little bit about how you worked the covers, built them, and who or how, not who, but how were they printed?
Well, my artwork when I started doing this digital style, it's a combination of traditional and digital. So I will draw the artwork out first on paper. It's usually like line art, and then I would scan it in. And back then, it was really difficult to find a large scanner. An 11 by 17 inch scanner in, let's say, 1997 was like really difficult to find. Um, Cost $700 for an 11 by 17 scanner back then. So anyway, I'm going off on a tangent there. So I will scan the art in. I was very happy to find that large scanner, and from there I would do all the artwork digitally.
Cool. Cool. And when they were printing, like, I mean, comic books are printed on thin paper. So was there any special techniques back then, or like today now we have, the extra colors and we have the embellishments, which
Yeah,
are easier. Although I do recall a few comic book covers that they did make special, I guess maybe collectors
they would
or
do
something.
foils and kind of I guess you would call them kind of gimmicky covers with sparkles on them and things like that. But for the most part, it was just straight up CMYK. And I didn't have a lot of experience with that when I started working at Marvel. And the first couple of years, I was a bit disappointed with the reproduction of my art because it just wasn't matching what I was seeing on the computer screen. So started doing some research on it. I found out what the printer's gamut is, what it means, and I actually devised a bunch of swatches in Photoshop that I knew were printable colors. So if like a very difficult character is the Hulk because he's green and magenta. CMYK does terrible with green and magenta. So I made like a 10% to 100% of each color that I knew would print, and I would just try to stick to that as much as possible. If you deviated from that, you were asking for trouble.
Was the printer or printers you were working with doing the testing of the gamut for you prior, or were you just going hit and miss?
Really just hit and miss.
Wow.
Just trying to boil it down to some form of logic, and just you didn't really get proofs back then because the deadlines were always so tight. So
No kidding.
yeah.
And is it changed today, or now it's like PDF, so it's quick and easy?
Yeah, now it's you can send a PDF now. Back then, they didn't even have an FTP set up. You'd have to put your artwork on a zip drive. You remember those things?
Oh my
Like
God.
high end, yeah, right? Blast from the past.
That's why they had the fax machine for
That's
right?
right. So I would put my art on a zip drive, and I'd have to FedEx it up to New York, and they would take it from there. So
Wow.
I mean, whenever a young person comes up to me to, talk about comics, and and I'm explaining how things were done back in the day, back in caveman times, they're really shocked to realize there wasn't even a way to send the artwork to its destination through the internet. It had to be mailed the old-fashioned way.
The internet was just starting then, right?
Yeah.
We were just getting, going to see websites that cost tens of thousands of dollars to build because they were so new.
Right.
So it's changed. And for the young people today, they don't know half of what we did or went through, because everything's a push button. Everything can be done from your phone, a buy, a sell, a check, a research. So actually, I'm going to bounce for 1 second, but when I was doing a little bit of research, I'm not really a big research guy, but like do a little bit. You have your own Wikipedia page.
Oh, really?
You didn't know that?
I haven't seen it in so long. I figured it was no longer there. It definitely needs an update.
Well, it says needs additional citations for verification. But yeah, but anyways, I just thought it was pretty cool, because when I did the Google thing and I was like, Wikipedia, I want a Wikipedia page one day. But that's pretty cool. So tell me, when you got in, but what have you done in the world of comic book art, and how has it changed from when you started to now?
Well, when I started working mainstream, this was late 99, early 2000, and I was essentially the only person doing this. There were digital colorists, but there was nobody doing full-on paintings, and a lot of that had to do with the technology back then. It was really, really rough. You were working on a CRT monitor. You had megabytes of RAM, not gigabytes, megabytes. The video cards, I can't even remember what they were like, but they must have sucked. There was no dual core processors. Just it was tough going. You really had to get creative with the technology to figure out how to really make it work. But now, man, I would say 80 to 90% of the people doing cover art for mainstream comics are painting digitally now.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
maybe even more.
Well, they made it easy.
Yeah.
Right? It's just they made it simple. But
yeah, I don't want to be one of these guys, you kids have it so easy these days, But it's true.
They have it easier. You know what? They have it easier in some ways and not so easy on others.
Yeah, I would say the way they have it more difficult is now there's more competitors. So back when I was doing it, I was the only guy doing it, so I had no competitors. But I was doing it the very hard way. Now it's a lot easier to be creative digitally, but there's oceans of competition. There's competition from other countries. The bar to entry is like super low.
Yeah, I guess it's like everything else. The internet has opened up the door for everyone to have a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is good, because there's a lot of really good people out there in whatever their field is that never would have had a chance, because it's not easy to get, in front of certain people, certain places.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But you do definitely have to work harder and keep it up.
Even the contact was very difficult back then. The only way to really get in contact with somebody at, let's say, Marvel or DC Comics was to literally attend a convention in the United States. And, now someone in another country can put their art up on like DeviantArt or something like that, and an editor might just be browsing through there and see your artwork. So it's really fascinating how things have changed over the last 25 years. It's shocking.
So, what is actually, so today, are you doing things differently that give you better color, better production? Like the tools that you have, being that you're mainly, you mainly draw.
That's tough to say. That's tough to say.
Or let me
I'm
ask,
still using.
let me try to rephrase that. What are the benefits of the technology today that you get to use?
The benefits of the technology. It's interesting you say that, or ask that rather. When I first learned how to use Photoshop, we're talking like 1997. My background was that I'm traditionally an airbrush artist. So my friend told me, he said, "Hey, you should try out this Photoshop thing. Maybe you can do something with it." So so I got on his computer and I started realizing that everything that I do in airbrush translated perfectly over to Photoshop, and I was pretty much able to do an airbrush technique within 3 weeks. I mean, I caught on like that. It was like just so logical and obvious to me. Um, but
So how much time did you save? Like from the way you used to do it, just moving up to say Photoshop?
well, that's man, that's interesting. I thought that it would decrease my time, but the computer gives you so many more options. Like for instance, if you're painting in layers and you've got a background that, let's just say, red, and now you can go in with a color shifter and shift it to yellow, shift it to blue, and then all of a sudden you kind of get
3 o'clock in the morning.
yeah, and you're just like you can't decide. You know what I mean? You just kind of get frozen on all these. Does this look better? Does that look better? Does this look better? And then another problem I had was, as you know, in Photoshop, you can use the magnifier, bring it closer to you. And I would find myself putting in like these super tiny little details. Like I remember I was doing this painting of Electra. This is back in 2000. And I drew these little skulls in her eyes, like reflected in her eyes. Problem was, when the comic book cover got printed, it's only about this big.
Right.
You
don't see it.
You couldn't see the skulls. So I had to get out of a lot of those habits. But in the beginning, the computer art was not necessarily saving me time.
It was costing you time because you were learning.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. What's how far? So let's just we'll jump into like embellishments and coverings, or coatings and embellishments, coverings. You have your traditional basic comic book cover, CKMY, I guess, on whatever the coated paper is. It's a thin paper generally. The insides are like an offset paper, thin offset paper.
Oh yeah. Yeah, much lower quality inside.
So in the beginning, when you started, you were doing like a lot of CMYK. It's a lot of CMYK today, but do they touch on the embellishments that are available for comic book covers?
Well, like we were discussing earlier, a lot of times it seems like these bigger businesses are, they're always cutting corners. And I'm convinced that the printers that they're using even today are still CMYK, because if I go beyond my gamut that I've had for all these years, they don't seem to print very well. Of course, that was a battle I had for many years, trying to get my art to look as good as possible on the final printed cover. And yeah, I mean when I'm doing like prints, like with my local printer, he's got like this gigantic digital printer. I think it's a Xerox iGen or something like that, and it prints in a multitude of colors. But for the comic book covers, yeah, I still have to kind of, I almost feel like I'm holding myself back on the colors.
When they're doing the comic books and they're printing, are the volumes high?
The volumes are high. They're much lower now. I think the comic industry is in a bit of a rut right now. But when I started, they had books that would print over 100,000 copies.
And today?
Today, I haven't really even looked at the numbers, but I'm going to guess they're probably somewhere around 50 or 60, somewhere in that
Oh, so
neighborhood.
that's still a
And these are
pretty
the
decent
top
number.
sellers.
Right. So
Yeah,
they're printing those webs still. Like
yeah,
on a web offset press.
I believe so. Yeah. I mean, I've never
Yeah.
been to the print facility, but
You
that's
wait. You've never been to the print facility?
no.
How's that possible?
In fact, I believe they print in Canada. Maybe you should go to the print facility for me.
I'm God. Just tell me where to go, and I would absolutely go. You know, you can
You
send
can
me
go
one of
in
your.
there and demand better quality.
So I think actually I'm up in Montreal, and I think it used to be Quebecor that printed a lot of your
Yeah.
comic books.
Yep, that's correct.
And then they were whatever that whole thing went under. But you probably I think could be printing in Mirabel or something. In the
Yeah.
offset web department there. Cool. Well, I'm happy to go check that out if need be. And we'll just jump into something else. You're going to be at Printing United.
Yes, very excited.
The biggest print show of the year in Orlando, October 22nd to 24th.
Yep.
I should get that one right because I'm an all-star there and I'm speaking. But it is that week, but that'll be good. And what brings you to Printing United?
Well, I'm going to be working with a friend of a longtime friend. I had a buddy that used to work in the demo room at Fuji, and he knows Mark Gives from Color Logic, and I'm always experimenting with my artwork. When I first met this guy from Fuji, I don't want to say his name. I don't want to get him in any trouble, but he would do all these experiments with my art. First time I met him, he told me he was going to put my art in a light box. This is like 2007. And I just thought he was some crazy guy. So I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he showed up at the convention with a giant 24-inch light box with my art shining. And I was like, holy crap. And we developed a really good friendship from that point. I printed my art on lenticulars, on metal, all kinds of different substrates. So when Color Logic approached me with this foil system that they got, I was really intrigued, and they sent me a few samples, and I was like, oh man, this is like the best my art has ever looked. So I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, so Mark Jeeves, Color Logic, is the color guy. I mean, he was color before color was color.
Yeah.
Right, like way back in the beginning when everybody started, and now what he has is he's created this color gamut system that works on digital presses, and where you could push the limits of color and shades and the degradés and everything on the different substrates is off the charts, right?
Yeah. In addition to the foil inks that he's been showing me, he says they also have they call them neon. I'm going to assume maybe there's some kind of fluorescent, but to add extra blue, extra pink. And I was telling you about a painting I'm working on right now. It's an anime piece that I'm going to debut at New York Comic Con. And I kind of jumped into it. I didn't stick to my rule with my little gamut. I just jumped into it and went for it. And this is probably the most out of gamut painting I've ever done. So I want to send it to Mark just to see what he can do with it.
Oh,
I got my local printer. He's gonna do it with the iGen. We'll see how it turns out. But I think Mark could really go to town on it.
I actually bought the first iGen 5 in the world back when it came out.
Really?
And,
that must have cost you a pretty penny.
Yes, it did. A lot of money back then. I love the machine. The colors that I was getting out of it were great. So today, well, now they don't have the iGen anymore. They have an Iridescent and whatever. I'm not here to promote Xerox or anything, but the digital equipment in general from all the manufacturers is pretty solid. And you could do all kinds of things and the CMYK, and then you have the extra additional colors that you get on. And then there's the whole embellishment side of the offline finishing with foils and varnishes, laminations, and
kind
all
of
that stuff.
The UV where they put like a raised effect on it.
And if you're doing like raised UV, you can do it in different thicknesses.
Yeah.
right? And you
Yeah,
could
they
like,
said they're going to do that with some of my art for the print show.
yeah. So actually, I'll just let everybody know because I did chat with Mark, so I wanted to get just some info. So just so everyone, so we know, you're providing Mark with some art samples that he will be printing on different machines at the show with different applications, different colors,
Right.
etc. And then they're just giving them away.
Yeah, and
Is that
I believe what he's doing is he's having all the different print companies print their share of what I've sent in. I've sent in like 60 of my
right?
favorite paintings to him. So, we're talking Canon, Fuji, whoever's going to be there. They're all going to be
Yeah. So you're
have
going
these
to
at their
be,
booths.
so like, first of all, love Fuji. When I had my company for 27 years, we were a client of Fuji and I never left.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do well. They do well. I have no complaints. But like Fujifilm will be printing on their device. Sharp will be printing on their device. Skodex
Yeah.
will be involved for the coatings and the finishing and the laminations. Um, Duplo, which is another machine for coating in UV. Swiss Q, which is a large format printer that also does embellishment
Oh, yeah.
on their
Yeah.
machines. You have Dreamscape working. I can't even read the writing when I did. A distributor, Kerno. Ricoh will be doing something. DPS, which is, I think, a Ricoh dealer, they'll be doing something. So I'm actually pretty excited because when I looked at your stuff online, I'm like, that's pretty cool. And that's online. And everything online kind of sucks because it's bland and it just, kind of goes right in.
It's funny.
So,
Mark was kind of saying the same thing, and then I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, no. But then I thought about it. Every time I walk into a print shop, the samples that they offer are always like a restaurant menu,
no, you're going into the wrong shops.
graphic design.
Where are you located?
I'm in Florida. This print expo is actually kind of local to me. I only got to go like 100 miles to get there.
Okay, so if at any time you're interested, I mean, happy to introduce you to some really good print people that will not show you menus.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But we'll show you different colors, metallics, and and whatnot on how to enhance what it is that you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely.
If a guy's
Definitely
showing
like
you
to
a
meet
menu, run for the hills because he's certainly not going to not going to enhance what you're doing, right? And
No.
are you strictly in the comic world, or you do any art, anything outside of that?
Well, I've done a lot of projects in advertising. In 2004, I got a really great job. I painted the Olympic basketball poster, the official poster for the 2004 Olympics. That was the one that they held in Athens, and I painted all the players with the Parthenon behind them. And that painting went all over the world. It was like in every magazine, Newsweek, Time. I don't even know if these magazines exist anymore, to be honest with you. But
Newsweek, I don't think, but Time for sure.
It's still around, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just curious. So when you did that, it went all over. How do you get paid, or who pays you?
That was a work for hire. So essentially, they pay you to do the artwork, and that's pretty much it. There's no royalties or any kind of add-ons.
And is there anything? Only because I'm curious. Is there anything in your pricing for a project like that, depending on what they're going to do with it, where they're going to use it and showcase it? Or okay, so you ask all those questions. What are you doing with it? Where's it going?
And typically, an advertising agency they just pay more automatically.
Right. Cool.
It was great. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you still have a poster in the house on the wall somewhere?
Oh yeah. I got a giant. Actually, my buddy at Fuji printed it for me. It's a giant 42-inch wide version of it.
Cool. So are you doing a lot of freelance on the side?
Oh yeah, right now. Yeah, right now I still working occasionally with Marvel. I do a lot of books on my own now. I do books under my banner, Greg Horn Art. And if you saw my website, a lot of those books concern that.
Yeah, no, website's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I can't believe you haven't been to a printer
What do you mean?
to do the comic books, like, when you're doing them. I'm still sitting here
Oh,
going, how?
well, wait. Here's what's interesting. So these books I'm doing now are not done through mainstream companies, and they are actually using a printer who uses color logic.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. So, and that was just pure coincidence. I didn't call around and say, "Hey, do you use color logic?" I just the guy that I'm working for now, he uses this printer out in Arizona, and the results are incredible. And then it turns out that he uses, if you decide to get a foil version of your comic book cover, they are using color logic there. So that was pretty surprising.
So other than the comic, most of the stuff you're doing then is probably printed digitally.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, so then so actually what you're going to learn at Printing United, all of the opportunities that you have to enhance the work that you're doing or to embellish the work that you're doing.
I would say that's what I'm most excited about because, like I said, I've used print all my life, but I've never actually seen the guts of a print shop, or I've seen the iGen, but I've never seen, what makes it tick. I just saw prints going, choo, 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 and I was like, wow. But yeah, it'd be great to see.
Maybe you don't need to know anything else other than what you see and then it coming out and liking it.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be great to see. I think this is really going to open my eyes to a lot of different things.
Oh, there's the equipment, there's the finishing, there's the color. And I mean, if you're hanging around with Mark will take you to all the right people. I'm happy to take you as well. But he'll take you to all the right people. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that'll want to do some work with you or, some testing and seeing what they could do with their equipment. Because, with the comic book covers in your art, you get to push the limits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I should bring that new piece. Maybe I'll bring it on a thumb drive and just say, this is your ultimate challenge. Let's see who can print this one the best.
None of them will touch it.
No?
No. It's like so many times I used to go and have a file in my pocket because I wanted to buy something. And I'd say, I just want to see how the machine runs on this file. They're set up in show mode.
Ah, interesting. Okay.
But you know what? This podcast will be out before Printing United for sure. Maybe they'll listen. And when I put it out, I'll tag them, and we'll see who's got cojones big enough to take the challenge. No, really. So I'm going to challenge all of the digital people out there, if you're listening, because digital is supposed to be not so hard, and as long as your file isn't crazy, who will print the file that didn't see it before the show? Then, and by the way, if they want to do it, I want to go and I want to film it because I love it. Yeah. I want to see how people work in real time with a real file because everything at the show is generally always perfect. I mean, they always have glitches, but no, that would be cool. So between Fuji and Ricoh and Canon and Xerox and Sharp and who did I leave out on the print digital side? I think that's it. So all you folks, I challenge you to take his file and run, and then we can compare sheets at the show and see which machine has the best impression.
Oh, I love it. The gauntlet has been dropped.
And I bet you no one will take up. Oh, there's also. There's one other, but they're not doing this contest. So, but to everyone listening, who's going to take up the challenge? I'm going to reach out to you before the show, actually, to all of them and see who will. How about that? So we'll see. We'll see it goes. So tell me some of the highlights of doing the comic book covers. Like what excites people? What gets you going when you're doing it? Let me start over because I'm spinning with questions. How do you start the design of what the cover is going to be?
Well, usually I'll draw some thumbnails, just to get some rough ideas, and then I'll pick the ones that I like, and I'll draw more detailed versions of them. They're called preliminaries, and you send those to the client, and then they pick one. If you ask me, they always pick the wrong one. So what's fun about working on my own under Greg Hornard is I get to pick the one that I like. And I've noticed, if there's not too many cooks in the kitchen, my finished result is always really, really, really good. And then sometimes there's just too many people trying to bend it this way and that way and sticking their foot in it. And I don't know. I feel like they kind of mess it up.
Everybody wants to have a little bit of input.
Yes.
Right? To be part of the team. So when you're doing a cover, do you know what the inside is all about, or is it not relevant?
Okay, I got a funny story. Some of the time, I do know what's going to be inside the comic book. But one time, this was early in my career, I wouldn't do this now, but they wanted me to do covers for a comic book called Emma Frost. And she's an X-Men character, and of course she wears a skimpy white outfit, and it's somewhat racy. And that was kind of what I was known for. So they said, hey, Greg, we want you to do Emma Frost covers, and we want you to get ahead of the game. So, just do some really hot paintings of this character. And, oh, by the way, we're thinking about releasing it on Valentine's Day. So give it some Valentine's kind of atmosphere to it, a theme, a motif. So I got way ahead of the game. I got 6 covers done before the comic book was even announced. Well, when the comic book got announced, it was an origin story. So it was about her teenage years. So I started getting emails like, Greg, what's up with these covers? And I'm like, I didn't know what was going on. I did what I was told. So
someone actually told you what to do, and then I guess the other part of it that didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, so it's always a good idea to know what the comic book is about before you get started on.
Oh,
I learned that lesson the hard way.
Well, a debrief of some sort. And when they're coming out with the comic books, how long did you have to design a comic book cover?
It's all different. It's all different times. Sometimes they'll give you the project a month in advance, and then other times they'll call you up and they'll say, "Oh, we need this cover in 3 days." And then you start thinking, "Oh, wait, I wasn't your first choice. Somebody dropped out on you." And then you're...
Do you ever ask them that?
No.
Why?
I don't know.
Well,
it just seems...
That's like in print when someone calls you and we need the quote like that. We need it in 2 days, and it's like a quote that takes 4 days to work.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I don't know. I kind of know what the truth is, so I don't want to put them on the spot. But yeah, maybe I should.
Why wouldn't you?
Just do it in a joking way.
Well, if they didn't, if you put them on the spot and they gave you some answers and then, called you well in advance, you'd be able to do a better job.
Exactly. Yeah. If they don't give me enough time these days, I'm older and wiser now. These days, if they don't give me enough time to make it look good, because that's all I'm interested in now. When I first broke in, I was taking everything that was given to me. Yes. Yeah. Let's do it. And then I felt like some of my art kind of lost its strength. And then I was like, what am I doing? I'm putting out artwork that I'm not really proud of or happy with. So these days, if you don't give me enough time to do it, I won't take it. I don't care how good it is.
Or should you? Well, everything should work that way.
Yeah.
Right? Anyone who's a professional at what they do shouldn't have to work. On occasion, it could happen, but as a rule, it shouldn't be tomorrow.
Yep.
I have a question about the printer that you're using now. You said that has the iGen. Has he taken you in and offered to show you different ways to do things?
Yeah, I mean, we've done a lot of projects together. We did a card set where he put some foil on each card. He's also showed me how much difference putting gloss on the print makes. The gloss really makes the blacks pop out. Because I used to say, oh, well, it's cheaper to do it without the gloss. But then, man, when you see it with the gloss on there, it's like, oh, there's no comparison.
Cheaper
And
and
like we
cheaper.
discussed, when I'm showing this artwork to someone at a convention, let's say, I want it to be the ultimate experience. I want the person to look at it and go, "Whoa, this is incredible." So
Yeah, I'm kind of like just sighing, but like in print, I've always been amazed because we used to deal with agencies, and I'll just make up some numbers, but like an agency gets $250,000 to do a campaign of some sort, and then they do the writing and the thinking, and then they do the photography and the graphics and all the other stuff, and we quote the job and say it's $25,000, and then by the time they get to us with the job that's in a rush, they're like, well, what can we do to make it less expensive? And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You just spent $200,000, $225,000, whatever it is, to put together the best photography, the best writing, the best illustrations. We quoted it originally with the best paper that will make everything stand off the page and it will enhance everything. And now you want to know how to make it cheaper? Like I say that only because as a printer at the end of the line, it kind of sucks sometimes.
yeah, no, I know how you feel, but in a kind of a different way. I have a similar not a motto, but a way that I live my life when I'm doing a convention. There's a lot of steps to make a convention happen. You got to promote yourself. You got to get on a flight. You got to figure out a hotel. You got to get people to help you. You got to purchase the booth. You got to ship everything. There's like 50 steps to get there. And if something goes wrong on those last 5 steps, like
the transportation.
Yeah, just those last 5 steps, man. If something goes wrong there, that just really gets under my skin. It's not the same as what you're talking about, but it's kind of the same. You've done all this work to get there. Why are you going to go cheap on the very end? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the very end, you should just continue through and make it all 100.
Yeah. No. What's your average run when you're printing something?
My print runs are not really that big. Lately, I've been doing like print runs of 50. Back in the heyday, the prints were really not limited, so I would print per show, and that was what I think I told you about this when we talked on the phone last time. When I first started, I didn't have a local printer where I lived, and I was literally printing my prints at Kinko's. So I would go into Kinko's. For anyone that doesn't know what a Kinko's is, it's been bought up by FedEx now,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
And it was like a print shop, but essentially it was just like a cheesy machine. You would have to get money put on a card, and you put the card in, and I'd be there till like 3 a.m. in the morning just doing these prints. They would come out so slow, it probably took a full minute for each print to come out. And all I can remember is one night my wife actually came with me and sat with me while I printed the prints. And I said, "This is a keeper."
And how many times did she come with you after that?
Maybe 2 more times.
Yeah. Better to stay home and watch some TV or something.
Yeah.
Right? Anything big in particular coming up that you're doing, or how do you plan what you're doing?
Well, lately I've partnered with a company, Celebrity Authentics, and we do a lot of projects, exclusive signing projects with actors and actresses.
Cool.
So we've done projects with Hugh Jackman, Margot Robbie, Anne Hathaway, and so that's kind of what I've been doing with this printer I was telling you about that uses Color Logic on their foils. So right now, what are we working on? I'll give you a secret. We haven't announced it yet, but I'll give you a secret. We're working on a Jurassic Park comic book with Sam Neill, Jeff Goldblum, and Laura Dern.
Wow, so that's cool.
So the plan is to get the comic books printed, get them triple signed, and then of course I get to put my humble little signature on there, and it's pretty exciting. It's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of working pieces.
Wow. So you must meet some really cool people along the way too.
Yeah, I mean, I meet a lot of really interesting people at conventions. Um, uh, the guy that I partner with, he does allow for me to come out to the actual signings to meet these actors, but I've never done it.
Why?
I I don't know. I just feel like because most of the signings are on the other coast, out in LA somewhere,
So what?
and I know I'm
Don't be
so
so
lame
lazy.
sometimes. Yeah, I don't know. If I was 20 years younger, I would have been on the first plane to go out there and get my photo op and then leave.
20 years younger. It doesn't look like you're that old and sitting in a rocking chair.
No, no, this one doesn't rock.
And the more you, mine swivels because I can't sit still. But the more you move, the better it is. And being out there more, maybe you get more creative.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you got to think that would be inspiring to be there and get that photo, get that moment that you'll remember forever.
Have you have,
My kids would think it was cool.
for sure they would take the whip. I guess they like to go to Comic Con with you too, right?
No, that's the weird part. They're actually not really.
They
They're
didn't get
not into
into
it.
it.
My son doesn't like crowds,
Wow.
and I actually got my daughter to work the booth with me once when she was about 14 years old. Um, maybe I'll get her to come out to Print Expo.
How old is she now?
She is 19. She just went to college.
So who doesn't want to go to Orlando or something for a weekend?
Exactly. Right? You know
Cool.
what? I'll tempt her with Disney World.
There you go. That always works. Have you reproduced any of your art on walls, murals, anything big?
um, I have I have not reproduced my art that I can recall as a mural. I feel like I have, but like I said, I used to print my artwork on 42-inch wide photo paper, and we would set that up as the display. Nobody had a display like this back then. People were like, they were like shocked. I had people this one year. I had like 3 or 4 people cry at my booth. They were just so overwhelmed by the artwork. We had
No
light
way.
shining on it. We were the only booth that had lights. I had all the art printed on Epson photo paper, so it had that vibrancy. And man, it was great. So I have printed large format. One of the things you talked about, you said one of the printers prints large format, and I'm really interested to see that because I haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah, no, Swiss Q, great machines. Like, I mean, they can make you something like, 200 feet by whatever.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do like a building, you should try and get your work
Oh,
done outside
really?
of
Wow.
Comic Con. Yeah, printing really is endless today. With seaming and whatever you have to do to step it and put it together, you can make it as big as you want. So it's
Yeah, it's
pretty cool.
that's another interesting story. Before I broke in mainstream to comics, I took on a job for a while painting motorcycles and cars because
Oh,
the
cool.
airbrush lends itself to that. And I thought one of the really interesting things that they came up with a couple decades back was like wrapping cars. You ever seen them do that? They'll print the artwork on a stretchable vinyl and
Well, at Printing United, you'll probably see that because they have a section, and people usually bring in some cars and they show how they wrap a car, how long it takes. Some
I'd like to see
complicated,
how the
some not.
technology has advanced because I haven't played with that in about 20 years, so I'm sure it's come a
Yeah,
long way.
well, it's all about the substrate and a good blow dryer,
Yep.
right? Like the heat. So it's
Yep.
good.
Somebody that knows how to
Get
apply
out
it.
all the bubbles and the kinks.
Yeah.
And work the fine lines, right? Some cars, the lines are pretty fine.
Oh yeah. You have to line it up to those seams. Doesn't
The
look
door,
easy.
the door. That's for nothing is easy, and the easier it looks, the harder it is. So,
Yeah.
next question deals with where everybody's kind of at today and talking about AI.
Yeah.
How do you dabble in AI?
Um, I have a lot of opinions on AI.
What
I
are
mean,
they?
I hate the fact that someone can just input some words and generate art. Um, Also, I always wonder if my art is being used as a model to make these paintings. But then on the other hand, I have used AI on certain things. Like I actually used it today just before I called you. I have a painting that's 11 by 17, but I want to print it at 13 by 19. So I have to fill in the dead space on the sides. So in the old days, this was one of those edits. And in fact, when people ask me like, what do I feel is the most incredible thing I've ever done? Most of the incredible things I've ever done are like edits like that, like extending art and going in there and making it seamless. Or let's say the editor says, oh, the head on that character looks too small, and it's all in layers, so to enlarge the head is not easy, and then you have to enlarge the hair and anything else that went along with it. But anyway, I used Photoshop's AI to just fill in the edges for me, and that job would have taken me an hour, and AI did it in
no time.
In the time that you had to set it up. So I do see some applications that I'm morally, ethically cool with, but yeah, there's other things about it that are man.
It's a bit of the wild
hard to
west.
Swallow.
Yeah, it's a bit of the wild west. What application were you using for filling in the borders?
This is in Photoshop. Yeah, Photoshop has
their own AI.
It's got its own AI, and of course, when they first came out with it, everybody went apeshit over that. But I mean, there's things that it's useful for, and you don't feel like you're cheating yourself,
If you want to know, maybe if they're using your stuff or not, you can go into some of the different language models and type in your name and ask it for stuff and see what it gives you. The other thing is, I tell everyone and everyone else tells everyone, but if you're going to use any AI, you never want to use a free version. You want to make sure you're always paying, because if you pay for the AI and the language model, what you do stays within your domain. It's not using it for learning for everybody else.
Oh, interesting.
When you use the free one is free, right? So when it's free, there's no protection.
Yeah, I've seen videos like on YouTube where they'll show what the people are printing just show up on almost like a chat room.
Yeah, so the $20, $25 a month for what I pay for 3 or 4 different language models that I use and play around with. So you definitely want to pay, and it's safer. And I would say, it's here to stay.
Oh yeah.
So I've seen some wicked digital art made with AI and music videos that you might not have been able to do otherwise. So I would suggest that you go in and play around and see how far you could push it, right? Even if you're using the microphone and you're talking into it, and you're talking about everything that's up here in your head. So when you put stuff out there, and the more you put in, it starts to learn about you, and then it can work around that. So yeah, the opportunity. I think you're going to be blown away when you get to the point and you see what you could do.
Cool.
And the time you're going to save, right?
I'm sure.
It's off the charts.
Oh yeah, like I said, I've already experienced that.
And so do you have any real issues with AI, or just because you're worried about what's happening with your stuff?
Yeah, that, and also just I don't know. It just
weird.
It's weird. It's hard to explain, but you just imagine that that the big companies, like I said, they're always trying to save money. They would probably like to hire someone who might be working cheaper with an AI setup. And of course, pretty much anybody can do it. So you're going to get the lowest bids. And I think right now, there's a backlash. If anybody even sniffs AI art, they're in an uproar. They go online to complain about it. So there's that pushback there, of course. But I agree with you. I think eventually it's just it's an inevitable juggernaut.
It's not going anywhere. I think it's important that everyone has to realize that AI is a tool. Yep. It still says at the bottom, check what we're doing, we make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So it really is a tool. And if you're good at something and the person's good at something and they're using AI, it'll only make it better. If you don't know what you're doing and you go and do something, it's not going to make you know it any better. It just might look visually okay, but then you can't even have the conversation about it after because you don't even know how it was built or the thinking behind it. So it's the same thing for authors. I did a book and someone said to me, "Oh, you should have used AI." And I said, well, the problem is, even if I used AI, I don't know what a good book is. You still need the human.
Yeah.
I think you're always going to need the human, right? Touch, feel, better emotion. But anyways, I'm telling everyone to use it because there's so many different applications that you don't even know you could do with it, right? So just as you go, gets a little better. Even you could probably take up all of your designs in a paid model, so it's yours, load them up and ask them to categorize it and prompt it a certain way to give you what you want and then track everything for you.
Interesting.
Right? Because AI is all about the prompting. It's all about how you prompt. So someone turned me on to this other site called boodlebox.ai that $20 a month, of course, again, they're all 20, but within it, it has a prompt guide. So I put in what I'm thinking or what I want to know, and then it rewrites the prompt in a proper way to get me the better information. So it's anyway, it's really good. It's really good. Anything you want to tell us before we cut out? Anything on the mind? Anything coming up? Anything?
Well, I think that the things that are being printed at this Print United show are going to be collector's items because there's a limited amount. You can only get certain prints on certain days at certain booths.
Love it.
So a very industrious fellow would try to hit every booth every day, get the whole damn collection.
And you say there's about 60 designs out?
Well, yeah, there's 60, but I sent them some of my more racier ones that were rejected, so there's not quite 60.
Okay. So you know what you should do? You should have some of those printed on your own by your print person. He should do you a solid and give you a few of those. And and then before the show, you kind of promote Ask Mark and hold it out to get people coming by to see what they are and give them away signed in a contest or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
That sounds like a great idea. I get the feeling that is what he was planning.
Okay, cool. So I don't want to I didn't speak to them about it, but I don't want to give away anything. But if there's 40 designs, I'd say, hey, if someone collects 40, they'll get 3 original signed little pieces or whatever they are that they could have. And will you sign the ones that people get if they come up to you?
Yes, you just reminded me. I got to remember to bring my
Sharpie?
My good markers to sign things, because some of those prints. Back when I started to go to the conventions, the only thing you could sign with was a Sharpie, and now the material on all these substrates, all these different prints, some of them are glossy or sometimes they're a little bit waxy, and the Sharpie doesn't really stick that good to them.
The Sharpie doesn't stick? Oh my God! I thought Sharpie's you're supposed to be able to write on anything with the Sharpie.
Yeah, exactly. But I've run into quite a few books where the Sharpie is a no-go. Yeah.
I think we should reach out to Sharpie with that and talk to them. They need to reformulate perhaps what they're using.
Yeah, or at least make like a new line of markers.
No, I think they just need one line that writes on everything.
Yeah.
One thing about the Sharpie is you write on yourself, you can't get it off. So it's all cool. Cool. So everyone listening, if you're going to Printing United, go see all the digital shops. Even before then, I'll put something out that you could look at and go see where the prints will be done. But definitely go and check them out. And then if you can, find Greg and have him sign them because his stuff really is off the charts. What's the name of your website for anyone listening right now?
My website is greghornart.com. And I will be at the show all day Wednesday and probably half a day Thursday.
Cool. So I'm going to be there. So I just thought of it. I'm going to be funny though. You want to give anyone a discount if they listen to the podcast and they mention it when they're buying prints from you online?
Well, I don't have it ready at the moment. Is this something I would say right now, or is it something you want to put in your?
You could just say mention the Print Whisperer, and you'll give them a special.
Okay, I got an idea. Let's do we'll call it Warren. You go to my website, you type in WARREN.
You know what? I'm going to tell you should change it to TPW.
Make it short and simple.
The Print Whisperer, and make it short and simple.
Okay. TPW, and I'll come up with a discount once we're offline.
Okay. When you figure out the discount, you let me know, and I'll put it in the post when it's there. And hopefully maybe we could drum up a little bit of business for you.
Okay, sweet. Awesome.
Hey,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Once you print the first few, same price after. So why not sell them more of them? Cool. Anyway, I appreciate you taking the time and coming on and telling us a little bit about what you do and the comic art. And really super excited to see what comes out embellished print on your cover art at Printing United. And
Me too.
Again, it's going to be on, I'm just looking at my paper, but it's going to be on like Fuji's machine, Sharp's machine, Swiss Q's machine. You'll have some embellishing on Skodex, on Duplo. What else? I think Ricoh also. Don't want to forget Ricoh. Fuji. I think I said Fuji. Anyways,
is Epson still around?
Epson.
Yeah.
Epson will be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And if you have anything cool that you've done on Epson, maybe if it fits and it's not too cumbersome, you could bring it and show it to them.
Yeah.
Maybe get them to take some of your art to show on some of their substrates.
Oh, that would be great. Yeah.
You could be doing a whole new business by the time you leave Printing United.
Woo! I like that idea.
Yeah, when I'm there, you know what? We'll connect there, and maybe we'll walk around for a few minutes together. See what's going on.
Let's call it a date.
Yeah. Anyways, thank you again. Everybody who's listening, hope you made it this far. I always hope you make it to the end, because all the best stuff comes, towards the end. Anyone who want to be on the show, let me know. Anything you want to know, anything you want me to talk about, let me know. This will be out soon. I won't say when because it won't matter because you'll be at the end. But we got Printing United October 22nd to 24th. I will be there. Greg will be there. And hopefully we'll see you there. If not, we will see you on the next edition. Cheers. Okay. You want to add something?
Well, I was going to add something. So the TPW code, I'm going to make it a whopper.
Whoa.
I'm going to make it a 25% off code.
Whoa. All right. You're doing better than I thought. I was thinking 10 to 15, but let's see how many people are you smart enough to come in and buy some of his stuff and put it away because it all is amazing. Anyways, that's a great way to end. 25% discount. You mentioned TPW on greghornart.com.
Yep, that's correct.
Perfect. And you got yourself a winner. See everybody soon. Cheers.
All right. Thanks, Warren. See ya.